A lot happened. Did we talk about the guy last week?
Mm-hmm.
We did a little bit.
The two guys?
We talked about them both.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's not that much to say about
and because the first,
Louisiana guy as much.
Yeah, and we talked a lot more about the Louisiana guy than we did the Tesla guy.
I have no memory of that.
It was just brief. We were just like, both these things happened, and we focused on the Louisiana guy because...
Hey, are these to share, by the way?
Yeah, these are to share.
Pat here is shelling out for some Vigilance Elite gummy bears.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually, weren't these a Christmas gift to you by your brother-in-law or something last year?
They were last year. This year, I ordered them actually while we were doing the podcast like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
They popped up I was like, oh, while we were talking, I got on there and I just ordered 4 bags.
They are pretty good. I eat them one at a time because of how flavorful they are.
I know. I was driving in my truck today and I just like mindlessly dumped a whole handful in and then just, like dad disposaled them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what have I done?
What a waste.
I was working, hadn't eaten. I was hungry.
Very delicious,
shoveling
flavored
some
horse hoof.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to come by, but they were available and I ordered them up. I wish I could know from a businessman's perspective, like gummy bears alone, what that brings in to what he does, especially like around the holidays. Like did they order like literally an 18-wheeler full, or did they just order like 12 cases?
Yeah.
I'd assume because of how large his following is and how much he pushes it every show, somewhere between 12 cases and 18-wheeler. Maybe 2 18-wheelers. I have no idea. I'd just like to know.
Were you ever listening to Sean Ryan when he gave his like testimonial? I can't remember what show he was being interviewed on. It was like a news channel. And he talked about how he decided to be like a drug, like a very wealthy and successful like drug dealer.
Yeah, I saw a clip of like the section of that. Yeah,
I'm sure he just also pretty much used a lot of those connections, not because he did it like a very clean drug dealing way,
right?
You know what I mean?
Because he lived down in South America, and he he took basically his like CIA-ish training, and then how to build relationships, build networks, and then
and he
move stuff around.
He also like did it through businesses.
Right.
A lot of it was through businesses, not through like a crap load of cartel stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he was in contact already with people in industries who could help him, get the freight going and get the candy manufacturing going and stuff like that. Gosh, those are yummy.
And even if he's not using the same people, it's the same thing. Selling a baggie full of sweets and a baggie full of powders. From a business perspective, it's pretty much the same model. Get the product to the customer, the logistics behind it. Now, one of them you don't have to worry about,
product sells itself
going to jail.
That's the thing about like food, and if the drugs are good, they sell themselves. If the food is good, it sells itself. You just have to figure out the logistics of actually shipping it,
or convince people that it's good too. Like that's like the thing too. Like
you don't have to convince a lot of most people will just put anything in their mouth, though. I feel like
right. But like being like, I'm not a gummy bear connoisseur.
Yeah, no, never mind.
But they are proclaimed the greatest in the world, or the best ones ever.
Yeah.
And when I put it in my mouth, I agree. Just because I've been told that. So like, hey man, this is the good stuff. Here's the good stuff.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Just like it's like you got like a freshman in a dorm room, and they're like, dude, this is the good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just some freaking Fireball.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, oh my god, this is like, yeah, dude, this is top shelf. This is like the cream of the crop. And they're like, oh yeah, man, for sure. So anyways, I don't know, but that's I think when you tell people who don't know, then they believe it.
It's true.
But yeah, so we're talking about Sean Ryan and gummy bears, and we're talking about a guy who blew himself up in a Tesla truck.
Yeah, so
they kind of go together this week.
Matt Livelsberger is the former Green Beret that, quote unquote, according to a lot of the narrative, apparently took his own life with the Desert Eagle right after pulling into the, Trump Tower. What is that? Valet spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then detonated these fireworks to draw attention to this memo, which really wasn't really a memo. I guess it was just a briefing, actually. In this briefing email he sent out to quite a few people, sent it out to Sean Ryan, and they talked about it. But anyways, the question now is, one, is anything this guy said in his briefing true? Because he talked about how the drones are anti-gravitic technology that the Chinese have and that America also has, and now Chinese flexing that they have it.
Which would also be known to the layman as a spaceship.
Well,
or, not exactly,
maybe not even
but
a spaceship.
But like an alien,
but a craft able to hover.
And it doesn't take any rocket fuel.
And it doesn't take any fuel, yeah.
It just zips around.
Which I am interested to see how that kind of plays out narratively wise. I think the more important thing, actually, that he accused was these war crimes that occurred in Syria of a drone strike from the U.S. government that killed over 100 women and children who were working inside of a drug manufacturing warehouse. And the U.S., after finding out the casualty rate, apparently covered it up. And a couple of generals and such that this Green Beret was under command of, and he was attached to this operation, just went along with covering up. United Nations went along with covering up. And he feels real bad about it and wants to blow the whistle on it. And the question, though, is one, any of this true? And two, is he still alive? Because one, the video camera doesn't show any self-deleting while the vehicle's outside of the Trump Tower. So the question is then, okay, did he self-delete himself while driving there? And then somehow had there's quite a few ways to set up explosives. I've been reading a lot through Special Forces handbooks about how to build IEDs and stuff, and how to set up like unconventional timers for explosives. And so there's a lot of ways he could have done it, right? Where like when it comes to stop, there could have been like a momentum charge or something like that to set off the fireworks. But anyways, a lot of it looks like one, he wasn't doing this intentionally to hurt people. The fireworks are all loaded up in a vehicle like this, and if he's a Green Beret, he should know how to make a vehicle-borne IED. And so it definitely seems more and more as things are coming out that this was done as a stunt to draw attention. He also said that he had intentionally designed this VB IED because he was using it as a way of keeping the feds away from him, because he believed they were following him on his way to get to Mexico to cross the border. Now, another thing that I'm just like not sure about is I don't think that's very legitimate, because this came out on the Sean Ryan show. And where did Sean Ryan primarily operate? Mexico and Latin America for the CIA. So it's kind of one of those things of like, why would he go to Mexico? Mexico's got some of the most like deeply seated CIA informants and cells. So it's kind of one of those things of like, I don't really think it'd be wise to go there.
Like once you cross there, then you might like Sicario,
then you're free game, baby.
Like the movie Sicario style. Like, do they want you over there? Maybe
it's like
potentially.
There's also stuff that came out apparently that there was recently a genetic test for him and his son, and it wasn't matched, so he might have gotten, some pretty upsetting, earth-shattering news. I guess also there was apparently recently an affair that came out about his wife or girlfriend, whoever she is, was having an affair on him. There's just a lot of like things that could be like very high stress inducing fracture, or like things that can make someone crack, let alone someone who's been in super high stress situations, someone who's covered in guilt and feels guilty, and about things can make a man do some pretty crazy stuff. Because we have people who do crazy stuff all the time, and like the Louisiana driver of that. What do you call him? I mean, he's a terrorist, but he wasn't a mass shooter because I don't think he actually shot anyone.
Yeah,
I think he got a.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a terrorist attack. I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess, do we have a name for these types
for the
of
vehicular?
Style of,
Yeah, assault people.
Yeah.
Mass vehicular killing.
Mm-hmm.
Mass vehicular killer. Anyways, that guy was pretty also bonkers and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's anything to indicate that guy had a recent thing in his life from what we know. Like I know his brothers come forward and spoken about it, and I know other people have, but like a lot of people, no one came forward with like, yeah, he just had this pretty trauma-inducing thing. Like the man just is a dude who came back from war and probably felt some empathy for his enemy, which is always one of the number one issues of war, and then became radicalized and, decided it was, up to him to bring justice onto America for what America has done overseas, stuff like that. And that guy didn't, recently have a wife cheating on him. He didn't just find out his son, it wasn't his, so it's one of those things like you have two cases of like, it doesn't take much to probably break someone like this to a point where the stress can start sounding like the only reasonable thing to do is something drastic. That said, I know I'm rambling, but hear me out, Pat. Here's my real kind of my theory. I think all of this stuff occurred to them, and I am, it's unfortunate, but the likelihood that our U.S. government did cover up something like that in Syria is pretty high. And I think the whole Trump Tower, the email, the picking a Tesla, the everything down from like literally fireworks and a gun and the whatever else he could have planned. Because the reason people think he's alive is because his phone number, the code for the Signal app that like when you're on Signal, you get like a special numeric code that is essentially keyed and encrypted. And you have to manually elect through a couple of options to change that code. And it changed after he was dead, which would be very hard for someone to do if they didn't have his phone on hand. And even then it's hard to do because you have to put in the pin and then things like that. You have to get past through a couple walls. And so that's why people think he might be alive, because his encryption code changed after time of death, apparently. And people think, oh, what if he, just grabbed a body from the morgue? He
set the Elon car on auto drive.
Yeah, with the body in the seat. And here's the thing, bro. He was a Zulu 18, which that doesn't really matter. The call sign, all you need to know is like, that's someone who's got some pretty big authority. Like they get to call on some people for things. And I'm sure it wouldn't be that difficult for him to grease the palms to get a dental record to match that of some Joe Schmo that he just copped out of a morgue or knew he was going to cop out of a morgue, right? Like, hey, take these dental records, say that they're mine, copy them. Because that's how they identified the body as his. They did. And that's also the weird thing is they said the DNA of the body doesn't match his son's.
Right.
So it's hard to say if it's even his body in there. But anyways, I think all of it might have been done as a complete stunt to try to make as much noise as possible to try to make the government answer to the American people. Did this war crime occur? Were we involved? Were we responsible? Did we cover it up? And I honestly think I'd do the same thing. Like if I was in his shoes, right? If I was at that breaking point, I would be like, and I was like riddled with that kind of guilt. I could see myself being like, man, no one's going to give two rats ass if I just do this and go scream on the street. And I can't do it in a way that's going to hurt people, or kill anyone. So I'll just say all the buzzwords: gravitic technology, China, aliens, whatever, right? And that's where I see that's the best I can try to make sense out of it.
Like you can, as you were saying, you can see how you could get to that point of like desperation.
I can 100% put myself in those shoes and think like I have to go balls to the wall if anyone's going to take this seriously and listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy, though, how close in proximity he was to us. Like, he's out of Colorado Springs, and, like, I know people who, like, knew him. Like, they weren't buddies, right? But, like, I know people who are like, yeah, like, seen that guy, like, every week for, like, the last 10 years or so. You know what I mean? Like, just because they went in the same social circles. And I just think that's such, you know, Colorado Springs is such a military hub. But it's just one of those things that feels really, really weird. And so I kind of have a vested interest just to see how it shakes out. But anyways, before I say any more, your thoughts. Smoke break?
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution.
Yeah, no, I think that there's it's getting a lot of attention from a couple different like angles, you know, and the stuff he put in his email that he sent out, and I guess for those of you who may not know, basically he sent an email out to, you know, it seemed like a similar email to a lot of different people, to multiple people that, or like influencers or social media people he thought might pick it up. And
I think he also sent it to the FBI, like he self-ratted.
Really?
The FBI is who validated that the email was authentic.
That's true.
And not edited.
Yeah, because there was a lot of conjecture around if this email was even real, and the FBI said it was from him. And basically, you know, a guy who saw the email come through to him took it out took it to the Sean Ryan show, and they did like a kind of emergency podcast where they blasted out the email, put the information on there, talked about what happened, and the kind of different things to look at are, yeah, obviously the big claim about alien type, you know, weaponry of, you know,
World War III shows like stand down.
Right.
What is it? Not stand down, stand off.
Between China and US on these like crazy super weapons. And then the next one being war crimes. And then, you know, the this other piece being, you know, is he alive or not? Right. And so I think that I'd be like, are the gravitic propulsion devices real, whatever. I'm like a 90% to 95% no. There's a little part of my brain that's like, I don't know.
I will say, as someone who's worked on DoD servers and migrated, you know, Air Force and naval data.
Right.
I've not seen any of those, you
come
know,
through
departments with their 4-letter acronyms in the military. That's just like AG, you know, anti-gravitic vehicle database. AGV, right. Like AV, no, whatever. AGVD. There we go. You know, it's just like, now, of course, yeah, would I know? No, because as I work with a guy who was he's Ranger for most of his career, and he was even pretty up there with some top secret clearances on the teams. And he's a very humble guy, but he was like, of course you wouldn't know, and of course I wouldn't know. Only two people know, and one of them was him.
Right.
And it's like, that's the explanation, right? You know, that's the reasoning.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think, you know, I'd say there's weapons out there that not everybody gets to know about, not everybody gets to own. Without a doubt. But you know, and so then the next piece, war crimes, I 50-50 on as far as like true or false. I don't know.
It's just as likely to be false as it is true.
Right. But like, yeah, it's just like,
unfortunately, the U.S. has made quite a few war crimes.
Right. Yeah. And so it's like, and in war, and then, yeah, like, and war is war. And so war crimes happen. Not excusing them, but it's what happens. And then and then if he's alive or not, you know, I don't think he's alive.
You think he's dead?
I think he's dead. Now
that's what they want you to think, Pat.
Yeah. Now I would say the fun part of my brain does think
is that he's Jason Bourne.
Exactly. It is like, okay, so there's lots of argument on the comment feeds right now around people saying, you don't know how a Tesla works. You know, you couldn't just put a body in there and it drive itself somewhere, you know, these different things. And I'd say,
how many of these people put a dead body in their Tesla?
Exactly. I'd say like, it's like, that's true. And also, I don't know what somebody could or couldn't do to make that thing, you know, basically it's sensing if you have your hands on the wheel or not, whatever, different things. But I think it's possible, but not plausible that, yeah, there could have been a switcheroo sent over there. He picked a car that could drive itself. He picked a car that would could contain a pretty large blast. Didn't really build that big of an explosive device or dangerous device. Now I will say,
if he wanted to hurt people, he'd just throw it full of fertilizer.
There were 7 people injured.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know what the extent of those injuries are.
Yeah.
Now, and granted, me and my kids could have been walking out front at that moment too, and could just been, if you were standing right next to it, and I don't know, like, were they all standing right next to it and they're fine, or were they like 40 feet away and they got whacked by a little bit of something in the arm and so they got injured, right? So I don't know the extent. I was trying to look up the extent of the injuries, but I couldn't find it just now. But
I just think if his intention was to freaking cause harm.
Yeah. The point being, I think that even there's all sorts of people out there, a middle schooler with a handgun who hurts a lot more people than somebody who's highly trained in hurting people.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that there's some validity to his, you know, saying, or to the argument being, you know, intent wasn't to hurt people. But so also how effective is his stunt going to be? I don't know either, you know, because in one more week from now, let's see what the news cycle is on to, or, you know, who gives a crap about it or not.
Yeah.
And then there's the classic thing where it's almost like any good thriller novel about a special ops guy, or any good movie about a special ops guy who's, you know, now he's found himself, you know, on the other side of what he was working for. And what happens after the fact, what happens to, you know, whatever, any of those characters, they get the first word that gets pulled out on them, PTSD.
Yeah.
And then they dig up stuff in their family life. You know, he had a kid.
Yeah.
He found out his kid wasn't his. And that's the other thing about the DNA piece being, some people are saying the DNA doesn't match his kid, but I don't know if they're checking that body's DNA or if they were cross-referencing his. I mean, he's in the military. There's a record of his DNA. So I don't know if they're saying, hey, like, there was a DNA test done, a paternal test, he's not the father, or if they're also saying the dead guy in this car is not the father of that kid. So it could be one way or the other, but the due to PTSD, finds out his kid isn't his, and you know, has been to war, seen these things, you know, and now, so like kind of painting the picture of a person who is now, you know, gone insane. They've broken, they've cracked. And I do think, and then they talked about how he was put on a lot of meds and a couple other things too. And so, one, all that could be true. And the dude snapped and believes in anti-gravitational devices and then went and made a statement. Mm-hmm. Also, the media is good at painting the picture you want to see. Mm-hmm. And so when everybody could easily write this guy off as just a kook, guy who broke. And I don't really sit on one side or the other of what it might be, but I just think it's all possible.
I agree.
And so
I will say this. I err on the side of Occam's razor. Mm-hmm. Occam's razor. Do you know what that is? I say it quite frequently to people. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes that just makes people think I'm just an asshole.
Yeah. It's just a thing.
Have you ever heard of Occam's razor?
I have.
Oh, okay. Do you know what it is?
I do, but I can't explain it.
That's sure.
You know what I mean?
I don't know why it's called the razor.
Right.
I think it's the analogy of shaving. And the idea of that, you could have literally just a sharp blade to shave with, mm-hmm. or you could have 20 blades on a, like a bendable head and, a lot of shaving cream and, all that whole kit, right? Now that might just be a Far Side comment I saw that was making fun of Occam's razor.
Right.
Are you looking at the Far Side comic now?
I'm not. I was going to look up the what Google says is the thing, but
the idea is that the simplest solution is usually the right answer.
Right.
And Occam's and like a lot of people apply like, okay, not just solution, but the simplest explanation, the simplest reasoning. Mm-hmm. And like, I think that's, we can look at the drones in New Jersey. You watch much of those videos yet?
Yeah. It's like your smartphone, for one, doesn't show you what you're actually seeing. Everybody's smartphone is actually enhancing the image you're seeing in the moment. So things can look crazy. It's a lot of airplanes in the area.
It's airplanes, man.
And there's a lot of people with drones. Like
for sure.
There's children with drones. Was this pre or post Christmas?
This is leading up to Christmas and some post Christmas.
I was wondering I was wondering if it was like post Christmas. It's like, well, every kid just got a new drone. But either way, I mean, I think I said this last time we talked about it. I could strap a funny looking light to my little Mavic right now, and we could go outside and mess with the tweakers down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the big thing is like I see so much footage. I'm like, literally people are like, look at this. This drone's the size of a bus flying over our house, and it's got lights in the shape of a V. Mm-hmm. Like it looks like a bus because it's a plane low flying to go touchdown somewhere at like probably Newark or something, right? And it's just one of those things where I'm like, what's the most simplest likely reasoning here? Mm-hmm. It's a plane. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things where like, what's the most simplest likely reasoning for what this guy did? Mm-hmm. It's probably the same one as why the guy put an ISIS flag on the back of a pickup truck and committed an act of terror and drove into a crowd of people and killed him. Unfortunately, it's a damaged person who is mentally unwell. And that's probably the most likely thing. Anyways.
For sure.
There's also, though, to be honest, and like just to give validity to counter arguments, there is the Occam's razor fallacy, which is just the reasoning of oftentimes the simplest solution is actually wrong. It's incorrect. It will not solve the problem. Mm-hmm. And the idea of like, how do you get across the gap? Well, just like build a bridge. Well, how complex is the bridge? What does it need to get like carried over, right? Mm-hmm. You could, if you want to get over the gap, like the simplest solution is likely a bridge of some form or going around. But the complexity of the task there and the different variables of how it can be done and depending on like what the gap is, right? So like, yeah, could you lay a log over it? Maybe. Might be one of the things you got to get a car over it. Okay. Yeah. So now you need to lay a couple of, what I mean? It's one of those things where like, it's just a fallacy because the simplest solution could still end up being like only a few degrees away from complexity of the next solution, the next solution, the next solution. Right.
Yeah, and why do that? Build a bridge when you have a anti-gravity propulsion. Just
anti-gravity over.
Just fly right over that.
Anti-gravitic.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I heard gravitic. I'm like, is gravitic a word?
Yeah, you keep saying because it's like
that's in the email.
Yeah, I know. It's like, is that a denomination? like gravitic? Everything I see just says anti-gravity on everything else. Anti-gravity propulsion, but
caused by or powered by gravity.
All right.
Oxford just added that to the dictionary. Just kidding.
Yep. And on here it says Occam's razor is the idea is shaving away unnecessary assumptions when comparing two theories.
Great.
Which would be all these other what ifs and crazy things. Like, all right, let's get rid of all that silliness and just be like, what probably happened,
bro? Yeah, but that's not as entertaining, man.
No, it's not. But it's like, all right, bro got a lot of TBIs, had a kid, thought it was his, it wasn't. He's had issues, struggled with the moral dilemma of war for a long time. Took his skills and used them a certain way, or whatever. But yes, the Occam's razor, the origin of things to me is interesting.
Dude, I love reading the origins to things.
Like here's one, or like where to like. And this is also more like language play too, but pumpernickel bread.
Oh, I hate this because you actually told me this like 3 years ago. Did I tell you this?
Actually, maybe I don't think I did because I just learned it.
I'm pretty sure you just told me this like a year ago about. You just forgot since then.
Oh my goodness! So, but I think it's hilarious because I'm like a sixth grader. But it's a Germanic origin. The first word pumper meaning to flatulate or flatulence. So farting, and the next part nickel, coming from Nicholas, which this is also interesting about Santa. I was going to come back around to it in a second, but it's Nicholas. In Germanic dialects was associated with demons or goblins. So pumpernickel bread is fart goblin bread.
That's hilarious.
Just is a fart goblin because they're like, when you eat this bread, you got a little fart goblin in you.
The damn Germans. They must be stopped. Think about that. Just over their name and stuff. They're like fart nickel. This is fart demon bread.
Yeah. And then maybe start wondering about old Santa Claus, old Saint Nick.
Saint Goblin.
Because
I don't think Saint Nicholas originates from Germany, though.
I guess that's true. Maybe I'm wondering why does Nicholas? Why was that maybe it's a different word, but it's referring to the name here. But I'm just like, I will say like with Santa, there's always like also a dark side. Like any like Santa stories or movies, there's always like this other piece of like you got the Krampus version and these other like whatever these other things going on.
Nicolas Cage. Demon Cage.
Yep. So watch out for
Caged Goblin.
Yeah, watch out for that fart goblin.
I just like one thing I really like is seeing the origin of expressions. And Google used to do this thing where you could see like most search terms over time and stuff. You could see like when a word was first searched on Google. I don't know if they still do it, but it used to be, and it was pretty sick because you could see like Google would be like, the origin of this word appearing in Google searches was the year 2007. And it's like before that, there's actually no indication of this word or phrase existing in like the English language. And I just think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because it's like and you can because they can track in real time when a word like that catches on. Like and I was thinking about like colloquialisms, different sayings. Like how'd that get? Back in the day, how'd that get all the way around? Usually it would be like
the bell
something,
tolls.
Yeah, like something in the newspaper or whatever. It's got to get by horse or buggy, and then that guy hears some guy say it. Take a pretty long time, But
it's kind of funny. Like you could have like a presidential slogan, and like by the time it gets to like a good amount of your constituents, you've already either won or lost the election.
Back then,
like "Make America Great Again" could take literally, a year to travel across the U.S. in the 1800s.
Yep.
And then by the time it gets to the people who are like, all right, well, we'll cast our ballots and send our representative 2 weeks to Washington. That guy, he's like, my wagon wheel broke.
Yeah.
We're not making it. The president already was elected. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Oh, my goodness. we'll see if anything else comes to play for this guy. I think honestly, it's just going to leave the news cycle. It's going to just go away, and we will see. But you brought up something that I haven't seen these headlines.
The fire,
or just little things pop up about a fire in LA, and I hadn't looked into it till we started talking before we were recording.
To live and die in LA. Great movie with Willem Dafoe, by the way.
I don't know if I haven't seen that one. I need to watch that.
Old school. It's like Willem Dafoe, and he looks like he's like 20, maybe 19.
Platoon Dafoe.
Younger.
Wow.
Like you look at him, and it's like no wrinkles.
Oh yeah,
at all on his face.
I thought he was born with a wrinkle on his forehead.
I thought he was born with bags under his eyes. No, he was actually too, though. I saw another one with him in it. He was so hot, bro. He was such a stud. Yeah. I think he got smaller with age. He shrunk. Really? Because he looks taller in like movies when he was a younger guy.
Yes, he just shrunk down tiny. But the LA is on fire. Like these maps make it look like the whole thing's on fire. And I hadn't looked into that, and I'd just seen like little clips and stuff. But I mean, pulling up these maps and looking here, I mean, we were looking at the smoke from the fire, and it's almost as long as the Baja of like California, or of the Baja of Mexico coming down. Like, it is crazy in all these images. It looks like doomsday. It looks like Armageddon. And when you zoom in on these fire maps, they're burning right on top of a lot of streets and looks like neighborhoods.
It's bad, dude.
Highway 1 is just shut down. The one, which like, oh my God, I've driven.
It's it's apocalyptic for LA right now because of the things that are coming out of this.
And on a normal good day, that highway is a car to car, bumper to bumper, hours and hours and hours long nightmare to get where you're going. And so the fact they have it just straight shut down for what looks like about just like 10 miles straight through this real main area where lots of people travel. It is.
Well, it's shut down, and people abandoned their cars and ran away. Just started running away when the fire was getting closer. And now the fire department's having to bulldoze those cars off the road. Which, I'll be honest, I was like, well, what is this guy doing with this bulldozer for these cars? Like, this is not a good bulldozer. He should get a skid steer.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, wait. They probably don't have like snow plow steers like you would see to like actually plow a road, right? Because like trains don't need them, and trucks don't need them in California. You know what I mean? Like they just don't get stuff. So I was like, oh, I guess that is how you're probably gonna have to move those cars. But it was pretty brutal. Like some like $100,000-$200,000 cars you can see are just like getting plowed away by this dude. But it's also one of those things of like, what are you gonna do? Like, as those people, like, are you going to just claim your car was totaled? I don't know. It's weird to me. Like, I guess if you have insurance, it's not that big of a deal. I guess if you live in Palisade, California, maybe you're just freaking made of money. But, dude, there's a billionaire there that they had on the phone. I think it was CNN or Fox. Someone had this billionaire who lives in Palisade call in. And he's like, I'm about to tell you things that are going to blow your mind, Ken.
All right.
One. They've been saying for years in the city, over and over, requesting that the fire department of Los Angeles County make an effort to do fire preventative measures because of how out of control the dry brush and things like that are. And they've been saying, like, you need to do control burns because all of us can see, like, this is about to blow up. Instead, the fire department's budget was reduced by $18 million in 2024. And the new fire department chief, her biggest initiative and goal was diversity and inclusion. And there's video after video of her talking about, and like the department as a whole, talking about it will be known globally as the most diverse fire department, the safest fire department for its employees.
Safe meaning having nothing to do with fires.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy, man. It's unreal, like what the kind of money and recruiting efforts went into versus like what it could have gone to and like doing the job. And I don't care. I don't care at all if my firefighter is they, them, and is married to a trans man that is pregnant with they's baby. I don't care. I don't care if they have a whole freaking head of rainbow colors underneath their hat. Like, pick me up and drag my ass out of the burning building.
Yeah, we don't care what you are as long as you're yoked.
As long as you're strong enough to freaking, as long as you can drag that hose, brother, them, sister, Zay. That's all I care about. Like, dude, it's clear like they're just not hiring, honestly, like competent people. The mayor of LA, guess where she is currently?
Florida.
Ghana. She's on a vacation to Ghana and using it as like don't get me wrong, if she's got like family or whatever there, that's totally fine, you should be allowed, but she should be hauling her ass back here. And I've heard that she's denying that she's coming back because she's on like a cultural what is it? It was like a ethnic cultural it was not a journey or anything like that, but she was like there on like kind of political image terms, right? It's like, oh, like I'm here to better understand the ethnic culture and the impact of like what we have on stuff. There's also rumor that the fire department of LA, the county, gave a shitload of its stuff away, like actual hard material away in assets to Ukraine. Like they oh my gosh. And it's like, what fires are over there, homie, that you got to put out? Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, there's bombs and stuff, but like, have you seen Ukraine? They're not facing a dry Kindle box. It's a swamp. Like, the fires don't spread in Ukraine, really. And then lastly, dude, this billionaire, these are all things this billionaire was talking about. And one of the last things he said is the fire department, though, like, he's thankful for him, who's out there trying to fight it, of course, because the fire department is out there trying to stop it, but they're just so ill-equipped and ill-trained and ill-prepared. But he said they're going to fire hydrants and opening them, and there's no water in any fire hydrant.
Oh my!
In the whole city, they're going fire hydrant to fire hydrant, cranking them open. Nothing is coming out. Nothing.
Oh my!
Like not even enough to wet the pavement. Bro, what does that say? You live on it's a house of cards. Yeah. It's a house of cards, man. Like, get out of there. Why are you spending millions of dollars to live there? It's crazy, though. But I just showed you the pictures, too, my buddy sent me. Those are from pictures apparently from his coworker's apartment out of the LA area. But it literally looks like, Battle Los Angeles. Looks like the alien spaceships crashed into the hillside. But he's my buddy's actually just closing on a house out here, and he's moving out. I'm like, just in time to come here with the rest of them, right, bro? He is originally from Colorado, so I'm actually happy for him to come back. He's not like a Californian bringing California stuff. But it is one of those things that is just like so sad to see, and like people are losing, everything they've worked their lives for up there. And it's sad because like, I'm not here to preach on a pulpit of like, well, vanity's vanity, and of course this stuff's fleeting, and you shouldn't spend your whole life, to like work up enough money to buy a house that is like, status, a symbol, right? But at the same time, it's like, it is their house, and I'd be devastated if my house was burning down in a wildfire, and I'd be devastated if I found out like my car was totaled and the insurance claims are going to get freaking denied. Like, the insurers, like companies are reviewing frame by frame of that footage to figure out who left their cars there to get rolled over. Yep.
And, or like, are there grounds for an insurance company to sue the city for being ill-equipped to deal with it's like, hey, we wouldn't have to pay out on this house insurance if you had done preventative fire stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy. It's crazy. I have good news for you.
Oh, yeah?
I think the housing bubble's starting to pop. I just saw that my house is worth $25,000 less than what it was up and worth in September.
Dang.
In September, it's dropped in value by $25,000. That's crazy, dude.
That's a lot.
Now, I mean, it's like, I'm sure it'll still be worth, probably twice its value right now in 10 years.
Right.
right? I plan on owning it until then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still worth more than I paid for it.
Right.
But it is one of those things where like I'm just seeing, I'm like, holy smokes, like that was quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like that started leveling down. So good news for people who are looking to buy a house, I guess.
With the bubbles coming down.
Yeah, apparently the car bubble's also popping right now.
Mm.
That's what else I heard too. Apparently it was like the worst year in car sales and inventory movement since like since like 2008. Like it was the lowest, and it like hasn't not at all remained sustainable since like the 2020 buy. Like a lot of people bought cars in 2020 because they were all getting their stimmies and unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
So
man,
yeah, pretty bonkers, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at this. It says that Billy Crystal, Mandy Moore, and Paris Hilton lost their homes. They'll probably be fine.
Their their Palisade home.
Yeah.
Not their.
I heard for Billy Crystal, actually. Paris Hilton still be fine.
You don't think Billy Crystal's got like a second? Or,
no, I'm sure he does, but I'm like, he's not on her level of like.
That's true.
I mean, it's
that's
like,
true.
Like he's, I like that guy.
Yeah, me too. He's also,
like,
dude.
But and it says 1,100 structures have burned, and we'll see what they do. Yeah. So with that, I don't know if that's crazy that fire hydrants have no water, and they got the ocean right there too. Like, now granted that it's a insane feat to get water from one place to another, and this is a huge area, but just still, like, I don't know. I feel like you could have something going.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's hard, man. Well, in like, you think like California naval bases, Air Force bases, you'd think they'd be flying those Chinooks with the drop-off buckets.
That's what I mean.
And just dropping seawater over
exactly.
it.
Just get it on it. And maybe they are, but man, and I feel bad for these people, and now I feel bad for myself because I'm gonna have to listen to.
You're gonna have to listen to them cry about it.
Well, no, I feel bad for what's happening to individuals, but I just like now I'm gonna have to listen to people say that it's like our fault because of like whatever it's global warming, whatever the whole thing,
that's what I mean.
Climate
people are
change.
Gonna cry about it.
Yeah, they're gonna cry about climate change.
Don't tell me I don't know. My house, my $9 million mansion burned down to fires, and it's like I don't think that was climate change. I think it was pretty. Like, you yourself in your community said if the fire department had just taken preventative measures and did controlled burns. You know what's something we do every year in Colorado? Controlled burns. You know what they do in Wyoming every year? Controlled burns. You know what they do up in Canada? Forest fire capital of the world? Controlled burns. And if we didn't, we would have massive uncontrolled wildfires in the densely populated areas just like they're having right now. Now, again, that's not in any way to say like don't feel bad for them. And don't pray for safety and things like that. But also, I don't think don't let people use this as a weapon to guilt you about something that you have no control over.
Yeah, this thing's burning right on the coast. It's crazy. Well, we'll see if they get it out, or if it just has to burn itself out.
It is bonkers though. Like, I mean, it could legit hop since there's no water in Palisade to slow it down. Like, this thing could just continue hopping and like start burning the city of Los Angeles down.
Right. Like, that's the only thing that'll stop it is like when it gets to the pavement.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of burnable things on the pavement.
Yep. Wild. And I wonder, lots of people got to be evacuating, and we'll see what happens next there. Man.
It's a crazy world, man. Crazy things.
It's pretty crazy.
Are you excited for our CQB class?
I am.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited. I've been thinking about it.
You're going to be there, right?
Thinking about what the...
You're going to be there, right?
I think so. My wife is taking an impromptu trip to Paris.
Didn't you just go to Paris? Didn't you guys just go to France?
We did a big family trip to the south of France last summer.
Yeah.
So over a year ago.
That's just going there,
which is pretty recently. But anyway, I don't. It's like I said, impromptu trip to old Paris. Basically, the Notre Dame just got finished getting reconstructed after their fire. a couple of years ago.
That was sad.
And
that made me super sad.
They've got
because that was a fire. Wasn't that started by rioters? I'm pretty sure that was a fire started by rioters in France.
I'm not sure what caused that one. But the basically got a sister-in-law who's a senior in high school, and I think mother-in-law's going. It's kind of like a senior trip, girls trip, headed out there. So that being said, I think I'm still going to be at this. The dates just might be close.
It said it was most likely caused by a cigarette or electrical.
I'm
wrong.
Electrician up there smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, exactly.
Smoking a doobie in the top of the no jump. Freaking Quasimodo. Quasimodo was smoking a J up there.
Bro, don't get me started again. Yeah, I'm stoked. Because we got these dudes coming up from. I mean, let's look at like just what is the pedigree of the 10th Special Forces Group. Because that feels sick. You know what I mean? That feels pretty dope to have those homies.
I think they've done some things.
They're a Army Special Forces Group from the Airborne Detachment. I wonder if people just cringe hear me say stuff like this because they're like, it's not a detachment. The 10th Special Forces Group Airborne Headquarters and Headquarters Company activated 19th of May 1952, based out of Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg. Oh my gosh. That's where... This is a joke.
Yeah.
But that's just where the two guys also spent time. Fort Bragg is also like a metropolis of its own.
Where every Army man has spent a little bit of time.
Unit transferred to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, and then between 1994 and 1995, moved to Fort Carson, Colorado, which remains its current home. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Began training with unconventional warfare. Ooh, I'm going to ask them how they do their IEDs. You want to hear something cool?
They're IUDs?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
How do you
I've been reading this book. On the unconventional warfare, which is actually probably the most depressing book I've ever read because it's talking about essentially how to build these explosives and which targets to target. Mm-hmm. And then it has like ink drawn pictures of like just an ink artist in the Army. Mm-hmm. And they definitely did pretty good, but there's one where they're drawing and it's just like, see how the soldiers coming in and out of the church like put the bombs outside of the church. And I'm like, holy fucking, oh my God. That is just like, and I'm like, I get it. Like you're fighting Nazis. Mm-hmm. You understand their routine and you're doing unconventional warfare behind enemy lines with like the French resistance. Mm-hmm. But dude, it's dark. Like you're reading it and you're like, you got to be in a different mental head place to like be actually thinking through this. But one of the cool ones, I just think this is cool, right? But they say you get dried rice or peas and you put them in a tube and then you have a chemical vial that essentially is taped to the tube and you fill the tube up with water, flip it down, and then as the peas or rice expands in the tube, absorbing the water, it'll eventually tip the vial over, and then your chemical agent taped to the tube will likely spill out. And it's pretty much like also make sure it's a chemical agent that combusts with coming into contact with water. And so then it tips over, combusts, it's your ignition, and it detonates. And it's like talking about like based on a typical like tube size, and it gives you the length of it of like piping or whatever. And it's like how much rice, and like it'll buy you like 30 minutes. Yeah. I was like, this is fucking crazy, dude. It's like, yeah, dude, it's like, unreal.
It feels like, am I allowed to be reading this?
I'd read it on the toilet.
Yeah, no,
that's where I read it. It's like the only place where it's safe to read it. But like I bought them for, they're not like controlled information. They're all declassified. But it's like that one, and then the booby traps one. The booby traps one was like, it made me scared to get off the toilet. Yeah, because I'm reading it, and they were literally talking about contact explosives that are in the toilet What's not the bowl, but the part behind the toilet that stores your water.
In the tank?
In the tank, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like contact explosives in the tank that once proper weight's applied to the seat and it creates the connection. And then once the connection's severed, that's when they dead. And so you sit down,
ripping through your spine.
Yeah, dude. So once you sit down, you're fine, but once you stand up, it's over. And there's another one where they're talking about just like doing it in like couch cushions. I was like, holy, I'm not gonna be able to sit down for the rest of the day.
It's no wonder all you guys are paranoid.
Yeah,
they read this book and learned how to use it.
That's what I'm saying. Like you read this and you train on it and you like read the manual front to cover, and then you're like. And then, you know, of course, these guys probably got to do actual, like, real hands-on stuff. And then it's just like, okay. And then you quit, and you're like, am I, though, like, allowed to quit? Am I allowed to be done? They definitely have been in my house, without a doubt. They come to my house once a year, I bet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's spooky, though. It's really spooky. It's funny too because I talk to people who come over frequently. I'm like, you ever read any of those books? And they're like, no, dude, that's scary. I don't even want that knowledge remotely close to my brain because I don't want to be in trouble for knowing it. I'm like, I guess that makes sense. But anyways, 10th Special Forces, unconventional warfare. They participated in humanitarian missions in the Congo, Somalia, Rwanda. They trained various components of militaries for several Middle Eastern countries, including Lebanon, Jordan, Yemen, Iran. Yeah, so it looks like their primary tasks are counterinsurgency, special reconnaissance, counterterrorism, information operations, counter-proliferation of WMD. Whoa.
I don't know how to do that, but
I mean,
go over there and throw a stick at it, see if it blows up.
I think it's like the stuff that you see in every like freaking high-end CIA Jack Ryan movie, right? It's the team of guys that are just like no uniform, no badges, and they just are like, these guys have nukes. They're taking them to New York. We have to stop them.
Yep.
The police will shoot us. Like, we have no friends.
But it's like, okay because it'll stop at 1.
Yeah.
No matter what, the countdown will stop at 1.
Yeah.
So
it always does.
Good at your job. Yeah.
Thank God. Anyways, their motto, "De oppresso liber," to free the oppressed. It's kind of sick. Just going through here, histories and stuff. They go back to the 1950s, but I'm just seeing what else they are. Oh wow, there's 4 battalions. That's cool. So 4 battalions make up the 10th Special Forces group. Each one is composed of 3 companies. Oh no, 4 companies. Watch it just be like, they are also known as Green Berets. I'd be like, oh, they're the Green Berets. Okay, and I'm just a dork.
It says there's about 1,700 of them, just rocking and rolling. And they are Green Berets.
Are
right?
they?
I mean,
well, according to my boss,
yeah, I guess
everyone's a Green Beret now because there was actually like they were back in the day. I don't know what back in the day is, but early 2000s, I think. There was some hullabaloo of like, it's like not politically correct to not let everyone be able to have a beret. Only a couple guys get berets.
Right. Because there's so much stuff in there where it's like, okay, this guy's a ranger, but he's actually not a ranger because he's not a tabbed ranger. Like all the different things. You're just like, okay,
he did explain that to me, and I already forgot. But he did explain to me the difference between the scroll and the tab.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, basically, not take like from what I understand, and I haven't done any of it, but like, if you're lots of guys have this, lots of guys are rangers, but within the community, nobody gives a crap about that until you're a tabbed ranger.
Yeah,
until you've gone through all the other stuff, and so like the
there's a lot of Green Berets.
Yeah, and so the but
no one cares about it until you're like a real Green Beret.
Right. And so same with like, I think, but 10th group is they are Green Berets, but like I've been saying, there's lots of different there's different
Oh, they are.
tiers
You're
to
100% right.
You know, so
I thought you were making that up. No, you're right. They are. These are Green Berets.
yeah. So like they're Green Berets. And
Oh, cool. All right. I guess we're CQB. We're training with Green Berets.
Yeah. Yes.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So now
I gave these guys pictures of our building.
I'm not
Just
using the
kidding.
toilet downstairs
no
anymore.
kidding, right?
But the
So funny.
yeah, so the the SF Green Beret guys, and so yeah, within there's all sorts of different different roles, different things they do, but it's cool. Yeah, so we're gonna do some CQB training with some of those guys, and
Did you get your flux fixed?
I didn't, but I don't need it fixed for this.
That's true. You don't. Are you going to bring it and just run flux with me?
I could, yeah, I could use that. That'd be good.
All right,
That'd be good.
cool. We need to get it. We need to get your flux fixed, and then we also because I have mags for you.
I know.
I've just been holding on to these mags. I haven't even shot through them. Just because I'm like, these aren't mine. These are Pat's.
What? Mine's a 40.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you can. You don't. It doesn't need to be a 40. You could just.
Right. I could convert it to
Yeah.
a 9.
Yeah.
But at that point, I might just get another gun to put in the flux.
Why not just sell the SIG
Yeah.
and then get
'cause
the
it's-
9 one?
Well, because the hard thing, it's special because
It's special because it was a gift.
it was my boys got it for me for my for when I got married. All my guys got it for me, so it's special. But I might get rid of it and get the specialer one, and I convert it into it's still
Yeah.
because they also got me a gun that could potentially go off at any moment.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, honestly, you
it's
should
old
just
gin.
you should just say that it's broken and then call SIG, be like, "Hey, warranty this shit
Yeah,
because it's broken."
yeah.
I feel like it's gonna blow up, and they'll be like, "Please don't tell anyone on your podcast. We'll fix it."
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So yeah, there's about 5 more pistols I need to buy, just cause, and one to stick in the flux, but yeah, I'll bring it for that. That'll be
Sick.
good.
So I will say these dudes are like dudes I've been training with are pretty squared away, but their skill level is varying quite a bit, and I think it will vary to I think we'll see some dudes who are pretty squared away show up for training and will be taking it serious, and then we'll see some dudes who are like just as fresh as you and I on it.
That's what I think. I'm gonna charge up some of the little bead blasters.
That's a great idea.
Just cause.
I think we should get more of them.
Well, I think we should get more and get one AR, and the aggressor can have. Because they have the. It's what are they called? It's a Nerf gun, but little gel pod blast. Whatever. So, but for people talking, it's like, so we get some of those. We need to get 2 more of those and get one. The ARs are automatic.
Oh yeah.
And so then,
Where do you buy them reputably though? Because I see them all over, and I'm like, that looks like a total piece of junk that's just gonna break as soon as you.
just at a toy store.
Oh, there's you find them at the store though. I see them all over on Wish and Temu. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not spending money on that just for it to show up broken in pieces.
No, go down to Shields and they got you can get kitted out at the old Shields with some with some gel blasters.
How much are they?
I think it's $30 for 2 pistols, and the AR's $60.
It'll probably be 20 guys, but I imagine at most it'll be 5 dudes at a time running through. So it'd kind of be sick if we had
we could have, and even if where it's obviously if guys think it's goofy, I don't care, because also after you do the runs with all your cool guns, then we'll have way more fun running it with the stuff that shoots out the end of it.
Exactly.
So, anyways, well, yeah, I was thinking about getting just a couple more of those so we could have them, and you can get 5,000 rounds for $1.
That's great.
So, talk about bang for your buck on the old gel blaster.
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to it, and I was thinking about different ways to.
Do you
set
have
up the
wood that we can set up as target stands? Because we should just set up some targets, just get those fabricated, so that way we can have a couple ready to go, so they can just set them up where they want them to be, and we can run through drills.
I've got some out back, ready to go.
Cool.
We're pretty close to it, at least. So
I have a ton of IPSC targets. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm stoked, man. I mean, because honestly, here's the crazy thing. It's free.
Yeah,
it's free because of our group. How often do you get to train with homies like that who have had over 1,000 hours of that probably drilled into them, training wise, and you get to learn from the best. So I think that's pretty sick. And you and I can essentially just come and run it whenever we want afterwards.
And I think we should run it with our studio guns.
Our studio guns?
Yeah.
That is a good idea. That's a good idea. There's a guy that is in this training group.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes by Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And
short for prophylactic.
Yeah.
Because he can't quite.
This dude is like, he doesn't say much.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't met him yet, but I think he's a little bit of an older guy. I think he hurt himself doing something. And so it keeps him from being able to do a lot of super duper high speed action hero stuff. But he takes pistol comps super serious.
Mm-hmm.
And he's training for the samurai. What is it? I can't remember if it's IPSC or another agency, but it's I'm gonna pull it up here in the messages he sent me. But it's coming to Colorado, and he wants me to come with him. Modern Samurai Project. And so they're like touring all throughout America to just, essentially go, and you find like the best shooters across America, and it's just like a whole year-long tour.
Oh yeah.
And it's already started, but they're coming to Colorado in September, and they're going to be right here next to us. And he's like, come with me, we'll train together, and you can come run the Samurai Project as well and test your skills, because hopefully by then you'll be a million miles better. Which I'm stoked about, because this dude is like, he can do a bill drill, like sub 2 seconds.
That's
like from the holster concealed. I think he said his best bill drill time was something like 1.48, and I'm like, crazy. That's unreal, bro. Like, I'm trying to imagine how you get a 1.48 bill drill from concealed.
That's why he's called the prophylactic. Because his finger's so fast, he's stealing all the women from the rest of us, bro.
I don't think I know what a prophylactic is.
Condom, birth control.
Oh,
just any form of.
I thought it was for something like pooping.
No. I've been taking all this.
I've been taking all this prophylactic, and it has not helped my.
I haven't shit in a week, and my nipples hurt real bad.
Yeah, that's funny. No, dude, but yeah, no, he's quick, and I'm just like, in my brain, I'm like, the only way I can think about it is that he's reaching and jumping backwards. And he's shooting the gun like from concealed carry appendix. That's a joke, right?
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where I'm just like, I just have no idea how you could get 6 rounds on target, 15 yards in that kind of time.
It's fast.
Super fast. But he said his like best time or something like that he can like consistently do is like 1 round from concealed at 15 yards on steel. He says he could get it at like 0.8 pretty consistently. I'm like, that's
blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, that's beyond reaction time. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a third, not a third sense. We have that. A 6th sense of like being able to see a millisecond ahead of you and know exactly when the timer is going to be. You know what I mean? It's so strange to me. But he did give me something that was pretty good. I'm sure it's like not for anyone who shoots competitively. I'm sure this isn't like, brain breaking advice, but he said with the shot timer, you have to start thinking that it's a beep, a B-E-E-P, and you start drawing on B.
Oh, yeah.
Not on P. Everyone starts on P.
Right. Beep. And then
he's like, you start at B. And I'm like, that's a good way to think about it. I didn't think about it at all. So, and he was like, do you know how long that beep is? I'm like, I don't. It's like a second. I was like in my head just listening. He's like, it's 0.3 of a second. Like, that's fast, dude. If you start on the B.
Shaving 0.3 off.
Yeah.
And for those guys, that's
a lot.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Anyways, stoked about all that stuff.
That'll be fun.
Anything else, Pat, that you kind of want to talk about? How's the nuts feeling?
The nuts are back in action. I mean, they're, I guess,
didn't think about how that was going to sound.
Yeah, no. Which actually, if they were fully, I guess if they're fully,
if
back
they were
in
back
action,
in action, you'd be getting your money back.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding. No, we're fully recovered. I'll say every once in a while there is like, if I sit down, kind of funny. There's
pinch.
Like there's still some things healing probably, but 2-3 weeks out from it, but no, good to go. Not walking with a swagger anymore.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yes, sir. I think after this training, we'll have to report back on how it goes.
Yeah, we have footage. I actually finished that video from our rifle range day for you to take a peek at.
Oh, nice.
It turned out really good. But I do think we should like run some footage and stuff so that way we can blur it out. And I'll make it look sick too. Like I'll add muzzle flash.
Oh, yeah.
Just look like we're doing live fire in our freaking warehouse.
For sure. I think that's a great idea.
But anyways, yeah. And who knows? I mean, I know a lot of those guys that I train with want to come on and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I give them a hard time about it too. I tease them. I'm like, why? Why do you want to be on a podcast so bad? Like, please have me on. It'd be so funny. I'm like, okay, all right. Just kidding. I love them. They're all good dudes. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for us this week. It's been a pretty wild week, and I'm just kind of nose down on the grindstone and kind of focusing on trying to make it as boring as possible because the world's pretty crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's hope, let's pray, have some faith that the transition to Trump in his second term will be free of drama. I know there's a lot of people who are afraid of the worst right now and expecting the worst, and I'm just optimistic. I'm optimistic. Especially, Kamala certified the election results the other day, which is, and that was drama free.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm optimistic. The one thing that is weird, I did hear that they're staging a ton of medical for the day. And they haven't really usually done that before, but they're staging a ton of ambulances.
I'd say
I understand that.
Yeah.
Like if it was one side and I was like, and they're like, someone was like, did you hear that they're not staging any medical for the inauguration?
Mm-hmm.
That's because they want everyone who's going to get hurt to die. And be like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Inverse, now they're like saying like, did you hear they're staging an insane amount of ambulance and medics on standby?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they plan to hurt a lot of people. I'm like, pick it. Pick one side. Like, you can't have both and eat it.
Yeah, I think it's overabundance of caution. I mean, the dude's someone tried to assassinate him twice already. Three times, and even more than and even more things stopped than we may or may not know. Who knows? But it's within reason to say that somebody could be a little kooky.
Did you see the official report that came out about the guy who tried to shoot him on the golf course? The Secret Service agent missed 5 shots at under 5 feet.
No, I didn't know that they shot at him.
Yeah, dude. The Secret Service agent, the whole report got released. He was walking along the fence line, sees the dude laying 5 feet away from him with the gun, drew his sidearm, fired 5 shots, all 5 missed. Not one struck him. At 5 feet, bro. Charlie Cox from Grantham.
Yeah.
He did a video on it of he's like, I'm going to try to miss. Like, I'm going to point in the direction.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see how hard it is to miss 5 shots.
Yeah.
They did one where they were just blind and they still hit the target.
Put a blindfold on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
not good. That doesn't bode well for Secret Service, bro.
No.
That's a huge embarrassment.
Go back to working on check fraud.
Yeah. The ATF drill's easier than that. I mean, harder than that, anyways.
That's crazy. Yeah. I didn't know that.
You should watch the video. It's funny. Everyone should go watch that video. It's a really funny video. They do some goofy trick shots. All right. Well, hey, Ken, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Please leave comments, subscribe. It helps out, especially since, YouTube brutally censored us and limited our ability to advertise and share episodes. And unfortunately, if YouTube does that, guess who else does it? Google. And so therefore, If you like, comment, subscribe, leave reviews, anything like that, it always helps to kind of get our stuff back into the feed, and kind of fight the big machine, the big advertising machine. So, but with that, we appreciate you. Hope you're having a good start to the new year. Pat, any sign off?
Till next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.